Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Wanted to get on here today and do a throwback video that I was tagged in by Dawn's Life Over 40. I love Dawn. If y'all don't know her, I'm going to link her below. She's a precious girl from the Midwest, warm and sweet and just precious. I love her. I'll be linking her below, and then I'm going to tag some people. I will tag them below. I don't know who all I'm tagging yet. I made some notes and I'm just going to get started. The first question is, what year were you born in? I was born in 1966. I just turned 50 at the end of last year. So yeah, 1966. And then, do I have a picture of when I was younger? Yes, I'm afraid I do. Yeah, I will find one. I'll be finding one and inserting it in here. Okay, what TV shows did I watch? I watched Bewitched. I loved it. I used to practice trying to twitch my nose. And I Dream of Jeannie. I loved that show. And my sister and I would play I Dream of Jeannie, and I would always be Jeannie, and I would make her be the evil cousin. She always had to wear blue, and I got to wear pink, but she was younger than me. So I watched Love Boat. I watched Happy Days. We would set up TV trays in the living room and watch Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley. Eventually, we talked my mom into letting us watch Three's Company, but she didn't like it. We just kind of had to work her into Three's Company. And Heart to Heart, Tuesday nights. I still remember the night. Charlie's Angels. I loved that show so much. We would play it at school, and my little blonde friend always got to be Chris or Jill, and I was always Jacqueline Smith, who is beautiful, you know. Jacqueline Smith is no slouch, but everybody wanted to be Farrah. And then cartoons, I watched the Flintstones. I loved the Flintstones so much I wanted to live there. I used to wish so bad that I lived in Bedrock with the Flintstones. And my sister and I would play that too, and I was Wilma, and she was Betty. And Looney Tunes. Loved Looney Tunes on Saturday mornings. We would get up and get cereal and go eat in front of the TV. One of our 3 channels that we had back in the 70s. What did I want to be when I grew up? I wanted to be an actress or a singer. And, you know, I was an all right singer. I played the piano and sang a little. I loved singing Olivia Newton-John and Pat Benatar. I loved singing me some Pat Benatar. And I did a little acting, you know, but not much. I ended up going to college because that's what my parents wanted me to do. And then years later, my dad said, you know, I always really wanted to see you go to New York and try to act. Are you serious? I thought that they would not want me to do that. So that's what I would have wanted to do. I don't have any videos. This says, do you have a video of yourself? I do not have any videos. Thank goodness. My favorite toys when I was little, dolls. Y'all, I was a little girly girl. If you're a tomboy, you would have hated me. I loved dolls. But mostly I played outside. I rode my bike. I grew up in a small town in West Texas, and it was lovely. It was the 70s. We rode our bikes everywhere. On Saturday mornings, my sister and I would walk down to Northside Drive-In and get a bag full of candy. And now I have a mouthful of dental work. So, but dolls, I played with dolls. I still have my last doll, Madame Alexander dolls. They were beautiful. Got one every Christmas. Okay, most embarrassing moment. I had so many. But the one that really still mortifies me, y'all, like I can hardly talk about it. My mom had left us with some family friends, and she was making dinner, and she made burritos. I'll never forget, she made burritos, and I was starving, and she said, how many burritos do you want? And I said, 3. She said, are you sure? And, you know, it's a lot of food, and I was like, no, I'm sure. I want three burritos. And she said, okay, well, if I give them to you, you have to eat them all. Like, I'm like, oh, it's embarrassing still. So I was like, no, I want them. So she, like, loaded me up. And y'all, I was so full, I could not eat any more of the burritos. So I was scared to tell her, yeah, you were right, I couldn't eat these. So I took, this is horrible, I took the burritos and threw them, put them, I was like looking for a place to hide them. I put them like beside their stove, between the stove and the countertop. I like threw them down there, just trying to hide them because I thought they'd find them in the trash, I guess. Okay, you would think it'd be 6 months before she'd find those. She found those within hours. She found them. If you wanted to hide something in my house, put it between appliances and a countertop, I will never find it. But she found him and confronted me about it. And I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. And then she told my mom, but my mom felt so sorry for me. She knows I was shy. I was like shy. My mom was like, you know. So that was my most embarrassing moment. Something I wrote that I still have. I don't have anything that I wrote. I throw everything away. And yeah, my mom may have something I wrote. I'm sure she does, but I don't have it. Songs that I loved when I was little. I loved Afternoon Delight. I loved that song. I loved Undercover Angel. I don't remember who sang any of these. It was the 70's. And I loved Debbie Boone's. I remember who sang this. Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life. And I would go over to our family friends on Sunday after church. I would go to their house and we would listen to Casey Kasem's Top 40. And she was number one on the Top 40 charts for like 6 months. And we were all every week like, oh, is it still going to be on the top of the charts? You Light Up My Life. And then I loved Undercover Angel. Something I dressed up for on Halloween that was embarrassing or that I remember. I don't remember anything. I remember my mother made my Halloween costumes, and I always wanted to be a princess. Seriously, if you were a tomboy, you would have hated me. I always dressed up as a princess, you know, something cute. I didn't like dressing up then, and I really don't like dressing up now. I can tell y'all something really funny that happened on Halloween. Here, since I've lived here, I don't dress up on Halloween. I take a chair out there, drink hot chocolate, and hand out candy to the kids, and I love that. But we invited some friends over. We always have friends over to hand out candy with us and cook out and stuff. And some friends of ours came over the first year we were in this house, got out of their car, and she was dressed up as Ronald McDonald with the whole wig and everything, and he was dressed up like a big M&M, and nobody else was dressed up. I was like, we don't dress up here. So anyway, that's off topic. Okay, something funny that happened to me, y'all. You don't ever want to be in a crisis with me because the fight or flight, I don't have either one of those. I don't fight and I don't flee. I freeze. I'm like, you know, if I don't move, they can't see me. Okay, so when I'm barely out of junior high. My friend Sue Ann and I don't know that we sneaked out, but we left her house and walked down to a boy's house. His name was Troy. We walked down to his house and we knew where his bedroom was. So we walked around to the side of his house and knocked on his window. And his grandmother comes to the window at like 2 o'clock in the morning. His grandmother came to the window. She was so sweet. And Sue Ann saw that it wasn't Troy and ran. Like, her flight response was good. She just started running. I froze. I stood there and she opened the window and she was like, honey. And I said, hi, Mrs. Whoever, is Troy here? She was like, he's asleep. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I don't know if that was funny or embarrassing, but I remembered it. I remember it vividly. Special thing I kept from childhood, I still have my last doll. My last Madame Alexander doll. Her name is Melanie, and she's at my mother's house, or I would show her to you. And I have my grandmother's cookbook, a Betty Crocker cookbook that she gave me that still has all her notes in it. And she was quite a cook, you know. So that is very, very special to me. Something weird that I used to do when I was a child. And I'm going to say the same thing Dawn said. What did I do that wasn't weird? I was a weird kid. I don't really know that I did anything, you know, that weird that really stands out to me. I was real shy and real quiet when I was little. The scariest thing that ever happened to me, and I thought about whether or not to tell y'all this because I'm not the kind of person that believes in these things, but I was probably a freshman in high school. Does that count as being a child? This is the scariest thing that I remember actually happening that was outside of a movie or something. My best friend Kelly and I were walking. It's probably 9 o'clock at night in small town. And there were street lights and stuff, but we saw a UFO. Like, I don't really believe in them, but I've seen one. I mean, I actually saw something that looked like a UFO. And not too long ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And it was started out way off in the distance, and then I was freaking out. She wanted to watch it, and I was trying to run. And anyway, it ended up coming like real close to us until it was like right over our heads. So, you know, I would say that was military, plane, helicopter, except it came right over my head. Like, that actually seriously happened to me. And yeah, by the time we got home, we were barefoot. And we had run on gravel. So my flight response was pretty good. I was trying to get her out of the road. Let's get to your house. And we were running, and our feet were cut and bleeding by the time we got there. And I told my mom about it the next day. And she said, well, Kathy, she said, after church, Annette and I were in the car. And she said, Annette said, what is that? She said, we saw something that looks exactly like what you were talking about. My mom's friend Annette, well, Dana. I mean, she was so sweet and Southern. That actually happened to me. And when I start sometimes going, did that really happen? Like a year ago, my friend Kelly Facebook messaged me, and she said, do you remember when we saw that UFO? And I was like, yeah, it was real. I don't know. I don't believe in weird stuff like that, but that happened. What in the world is different now than it was then? Everything. Everything. We played outside. We didn't have internet, games, cell phones. We interacted with each other. We had people over all the time. There's nothing else to do. We had a Dairy Queen. That was the only restaurant we had in town. So people came to the house, or we went to their house, you know. So, but we played outside, and it was safe then to play outside. You know, we would walk all over the place at night, and I didn't let my own kids do that because, you know, I was scared. When I see TV shows like from the 60s and 70s, I'm like, that's a different planet. That's like a different world. It's like visiting another place. So anyway, that's all my throwback questions. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I will talk to y'all soon. Y'all have a good day. Bye.